Hello. Today, well, this evening actually, it's nighttime, I want to share with you a resource that I recently came across just a couple weeks ago, I guess. And this resource, I want to share it with you because it can help you and it can also help your child to pick out really good, wholesome, books like full of morals and lessons and character building and just really good, wholesome reads. So if you go to the library and you really don't know what book to pick for your child, or they don't know what book to pick, this is a handy list. It's rather long, but it's a handy list to have with you to search through to find good books. And okay, so I'm sure that many, if not all that are watching, I'm sure you have heard of The Good and the Beautiful. Well, Jenny Phillips, the author of The Good and Beautiful curriculum, she has a book list of, I think it's like 546 books. She updates it every year. So every year the list gets larger. And there's over 500 on this current list. She's going to update it again in May 2018. But currently there's over 500 books on the list. And on this list are all the books that she has read, or some people that she trusts, they have read, and it has to meet certain criteria for it to be on the list. So these books are wholesome and they're good. Let me show you. Okay, before I show you, you can go to her website, jennyphillips.com, and you can actually purchase the book list. It's a PDF download. It's $5. But when you purchase it once, every year, every May, when she updates it, just pay $1 and you get the updated list. Okay? But currently it's only in PDF form, but she does plan the next year, or this next one, to have a print version as well. Okay, I cannot show you everything on here because, copyright thing. But this is the cover page. Oh no, can you see it? Hopefully that's coming through with that light. It says The Good and the Beautiful book list. Hundreds of Jenny Phillips' top recommended books. They are clean and wholesome, high moral merit, high literary merit, and high educational value. Okay, I'm going to read off her criteria that a book has to meet in order to be on the list. Let me find it here. Okay, so the standards used in reviewing these books. For a book to be on this approved book list, the book has to avoid all uses of profanity. So any type of cussing whatsoever, just, one D word, the book is off the list, okay? So there can be absolutely no cussing and no taking God's name in vain. The second thing, it has to avoid violence used for entertainment or shock value, or that is graphic. The third one is the book, it does not weaken family, faith, or Christ-like behavior. And then she believes that a book should meet this other criteria. It should meet the criteria of portraying strong families, motherhood and fatherhood as desirable and noble, portrays parents as valuable, involved, and helpful, promotes respect and appreciation for teachers, peers, siblings, and extended family, portrays faith in God as desirable and noble, portrays learning and education as desirable and noble, does not portray bad behavior or weak character traits as humorous, entertaining, normal, or acceptable. And those bad behavior traits, examples she gives, would be laziness, negativity, flippant attitude, disrespect, cruelty, violence, gossip, pride, vanity, self-centeredness, revenge, greed, worldliness, unkindness, immodesty, immoral, or lack of depth of character. So that's the criteria that the book has to meet. Okay, now I'm going to show you just a couple, going to kind of flip through here and show you a couple pages. Oh, just a second. as to how it's set up anyway. I keep hitting that button. Okay, let me see if I can do this without hitting the button again. Can you see that? I don't know. Hopefully you can. You will see a picture. So right here there are 4 pictures. So there's 4 books on this page. Okay, so they have a picture of the book. The next column has the name of the book, and it also tells you if it's a fiction book or biography or nonfiction, things like that. The third column here tells you the author of the book, and then on another page, Jenny put together like her merit system. So she gives points for how much merit, moral merit value is in the book. Literary merit, like the literary merit means like, you know, how much of a challenging read is it? You know, like the sentence structure, is it just simple sentences, or is it compound or compound complex? You know, those really bigger, more challenging sentences. So there's a literary merit value, educational value, and then points. And the points is just something you can use at home, you know, like kind of like the AR accelerated reading program. You know, you could kind of use this and say, hey, you read that book and you can get, you know, 5 points if you pass, you know, a test that you may make up. So that's just up to you. That's just something extra she added. And what I really like about her list is over here. Can you even see that? It's glaring. Right here, this column. This column, the last one, actually tells you her thoughts on it. So instead of just having a list with all the names of the books that she approves, she tells you why she approves it. So I really, really liked that. You can see this one here has a lot more information written about it. There are some books on her list that she approves of. Okay, I know. For example, the Nancy Drew series. Okay, the Nancy Drew series, it's on her book list. She approves of that, okay? But in that same description, like telling you why she approves of it, down below that, it tells you that even though she approves of that, she does not approve of the newer, the modern Nancy Drews, like the Nancy Drew Diaries and the Nancy Drew Clue Crew. Okay, so there are some, you know, that she approves of and some she doesn't, and she'll tell you that. Even in some of the American Girl, let me find it. Oh, I can't find it because it's upstairs in the other bookshelf. Sorry, I was trying to find a book. Even the American Girl series, there are some that she approves of and some that she doesn't. For example, Anne of Green Gables. Okay, that's a great series. Well, there's a couple that she approves of, and then a few that she doesn't approve of. So, you know, I really, really like that. You know, how she's like, this is why I do and this is why I don't. So I really like that. And, okay, I think that might be all I want to say about the book list, on her approved book list. Now, I will tell you, she also has a list of books that she's read and that did not make the book list. And I would recommend getting that list as well. That list is laid out the exact same as this one. You know, it has the picture, the author, the description telling you why. And I will go ahead and pull that one up for you as well. List of books that did not make the list. She has them kind of broken down. Let me turn it this way. Into the different types of books. Like, here's a section called roller coaster books, okay? But it has the same thing. You know, it tells you why it didn't make the list. I found this very helpful. Here with you is on the list of books that did not make her list. there were a few on there that we either own or my oldest has read. Now, when my oldest was somewhere between, I guess it was like the summer between 3rd grade and 4th grade, up until that point, I always read all of the books before she read them. You know, that way I could approve of them and whatnot. Well, somewhere between the summer of 3rd and 4th grade, I mean, she was reading all the time anyway, but they were smaller books. Well, between 3rd and 4th grade, not only was she reading all the time, but the books were pretty big, and I just didn't have the time to, you know, read big novels. So I didn't read them anymore before her. So what I would do when I was checking out, seeing if she could read a book, I obviously could not sit down and read that because she would just, you know, whip them out like a big novel every day. You know, so I would just like look at the cover, read the back summary, kind of flip through it, you know, scan through it, and just kind of, you know, went with my gut and everything. And sometimes I would get on some websites, but not very much. So there are some books that she has read that are on the list of Jenny doesn't recommend. Now, luckily, all the ones that my daughter has read that are on the list that Jenny does not recommend, luckily, most of them are just because they're not her favorite. Like, they're not Jenny's favorite. Maybe the sentence structure isn't challenging enough. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. You know, at least my daughter didn't get any, you know, bad moral or, you know, bad ideas or anything like that. It's just, you know, maybe the sentence structure wasn't the strongest. However, there are a few books that my child has read that did have, you know, one cuss word here or there. And my daughter did read them, and as she was reading them, you know, she would tell me, hey, this one says this. And so there was some that my daughter just put down on her own. But this book, The Upstairs Room, it's about, you know, Jews in Nazi Germany. This book I read when I was in school. I think I was in 5th grade or 6th grade, and we had to read this. I remember this book, and I remember, you know, liking it, I guess. I mean, it stuck with me. And I picked this up several years ago at, I don't know, some store, Goodwill maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, I picked it up because I remembered it. I remembered, hey, that would be a good book for when, you know, we study the Holocaust. Well, I don't think either one of my kids have read this book yet, but this book is actually on her do not read list because it says, which I should have pulled that up, but it says that I think it takes God's name in vain 32 times. There is something with the number 32 on this book that has to do with cussing. Oh, here it is. Oh, 28 times. It says that it takes God's name in vain 28 times in this book. I don't remember that. But then again, you know, I was a kid and that was several years ago. So this, you know, list of books that she doesn't recommend has been helpful for me on that aspect. You know, because I can determine, well, okay, the sentence structure isn't very good, but, you know, it's about horses, you know, it's just a fun little book, so I'll let her read it. Or, you know, it's a really good educational book about a history thing, and it may have a few cuss words, and, you know, you kind of have to balance out and see how you feel about that. So I wanted to say that. But another thing I wanted to say that I like about this list of books not to read is there are some books on here that she doesn't recommend for one reason or another. And some of them, like I said earlier, are just because she didn't find them interesting, okay? Or captivating, or, you know, the sentence structure just wasn't very complex, okay? So, you know, you just kind of have to sort through it and do what you feel is right. But one thing I like on the list of books that does not make the list is if there's a book on here that she says she doesn't recommend it for this reason, if there's another book that is very compatible that she has read and she knows, she will say, I don't recommend this book because of this, but this book I recommend. You know, it's the same type of book. You know, you may have like, I don't want to give it away, but there's one book on here that is about like wolves and dogs and, you know, dog sledding. I don't want to say the name of it. And she doesn't recommend that book, but she recommends Child of the Wolves instead as a replacement for that book. And there are some books that are a little historical that she doesn't recommend, but when she can, she'll recommend another one that's that same time period and interesting and just a better read. So I think that's all I wanted to say about those book lists. I will have a link in the description box below if you're interested in checking out that book list of her. It's called, I think it's just called Book List. It's the ones that she approves. And like I said, you'll have to actually email them and request the list of books that did not make the cut. So if you have any questions, just ask, and hope you enjoy. Bye.